are some teams or some players that have certain heroes that they just can't seem to crack. For some reason, anytime they go up against them, they end up with a losing matchup. Maybe this is Cloud9 saying that Saw is one of those picks for them.
Absolutely, and I mean, everyone just taking this Saw off the table recently. It has been one of the top bans here in North America, but Jewel is going to be locked in for Best Chuck NA. We know how terrifying Jewel can be in the hands of Best Chuck, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do taking that into the lane.
Can definitely be a very impactful pick for Best Chuck. Is one of his highest win rate heroes going back over even to last season. He was one of the only members that was, or only teams that was running it was Team Solo Mid, and Best Chuck was just winning every single game that he got his hands on that hero. So kind of going back to his roots a little bit with that pickup.
Yeah, it seems like Cloud9 are going to go for a triple range composition possibly to counter the Churnwalker. Jewel and Churnwalker work so well together because Jewel is a very aggressive playing hero, and she forces your opponent to react to her and have to play a little bit defensive, have to play a little bit passive, which works perfectly for Churnwalker because then he's able to set up the team fights the way he wants, instead of being engaged on. So the duo together, and especially in lane, the amount of pressure they're going to be able to output is going to be very intense for C9 to handle.
It's going to be the CP Petal going into the hands of Isle of Joseph in this one as the Vox is grabbed for Old School, one of his classic comfort picks going up into the lane. But the Rona will be the lock-in for Team Solo Mid, so either Rona or Jewel will be going into that jungle slot.
It could be CP Rona, or it could be the often alluded to, but very rarely seen, CP Jewel. Think about a CP Jewel big red button with all three members of the opposing team hooked.
Yeah, I mean, that could be absolutely terrifying, especially if they're all stunned by a Torment or stunned by a Trespass, or
and
pulled in with a
Rona
Torment.
is spinning at the same time on top of them.
Like, that's
the
terrifying.
Wombo combo.
This could be the ultimate Wombo combo composition before our very eyes. We don't know which way they'll take this one around just yet, though. How does that play out, though? If they go with something like a CP Jewel, how do you have to play that throughout the game?
I mean, you just have to be careful throughout the early game until you get to your Shadow Glass, for example, or a Clockwork later on when you pick it up. You just have to play around the ultimate. The ultimate is on such a short cooldown, especially if you pick up a Clockwork every time you hit a Thunder. Every time you hit a Thunder Strike, you're gonna lower the cooldown as well. It will end up being on a 20-second, 15-second cooldown in the very late game. So CP Jewel could be devastating.
It certainly could be devastating. We'll see if that is going to be the case. We'll see if they actually go for that CP Jewel as
I probably
well.
know it could just end up being double weapon power.
It could. Honestly, it feels most likely to be double weapon power, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm certainly willing to be proven wrong here. This is going to be an incredibly exciting final as we head on into this one. Make sure to let us know who you are supporting coming on into this matchup. Hashtag Vainglory8. It is Team Solo Mid going up against Cloud9, and it is the pride of North America on the line. Let's pass it back to Medic and Denominate for our grand finals.
Thank you very much, Monch. We say it might be double weapon power. Vonsi has 2 crystal bits sitting in his inventory to start us off, Denominate. So I want you to talk to me about CP Rona and its strengths and its powers. And I think you may be coughing again because your microphone was muted. But yeah, talk to me about CP Rona, because this seems like it might be a thing that Vonsi's about to do.
CP Rona is actually very, very bursty. The foe splitter damage that comes through can be very similar to actually what a weapon-powered Jewel can do, or a weapon-powered Kestrel, and we've all seen the amount of pain that that can put in, as well as it does have a crystal ratio on the red mist as well, and when paired with the Churnwalker, if Flash is able to get the hook and chain down onto all the enemies of Cloud9 and torment them in and allow Rona to spin to win, then it could really spread a lot of damage around those chains, even if Old School or Joseph aren't in that target.
Gabe Vizzle stole that.
He's a
with
legend.
The Imperial Sigil. He actually just stole the triad away from all 3 members of TSM. That's a Tilda to start us off. C9 in a good position starting off this game. Is going to be a CP Pestle in the jungle. Old School going weapon power on this Vox, as you would expect. And nothing really on the line for either of these 2 teams here. It's much more a display of pride, a display of NA skill, rather than a battle for a spot or for a position at the World Championships, because both these two teams will be going to those World Championships in December in Singapore.
Yeah, and one of the big damage spikes we're going to have to look for Von C is the amount of damage that you see on Into the Fray when you run a weapon Rona. I feel like, Into the Fray, it's more scary as a slow than anything else. But the damage that Into the Fray has with crystal power, it's 100% crystal ratio on the initial impact and 200% on the eruption damage that comes after. And they're looking for a treant here. Can they get this one?
They did. They secured it for themselves this time. Best Chuck was the one to get the final hit on that, so he'll be pretty happy that they were actually able to get that. Ends up being a 1-for-1 overall in terms of Elder Treants, and both teams taking an even footing coming into the laning phase, as Best Chuck and Old School have met each other so many times previously. TSM and C9, stalwart members of the VG8 and of the Evil 8 before it, and consistently the best two teams in North America.
Yeah, but as of late, when it comes down to the competitions, it's been Cloud9 that's been the one able to take the edge, so we'll have to see if that's the same going into Worlds. Obviously, after this matchup, we'll get a little bit better insight on what the actual matchups are going to look like going into Worlds, see what kind of brackets everybody's in. But, this game comes first, and we'll have to see if Von C, if he's pulling out some crazy crystal. I mean, there's the burst right there.
Yeah, Chase on towards this pedal. Joseph trying to position in the back of the pit. Flash X is the first to fall, though, and C9 able to collapse a little bit quicker. Joseph's on the chase here. Trampolines forward onto Von C. Looking for the Munyon damage. Will get it. It's a double for Joseph early on. Blows a kiss to Von C. And great play from C9. They're going to lead with about 1,000 gold ahead now. And they'll take their second Elder Treant.
Yeah, and that's a pretty sizable lead starting for Cloud9 already. We're only 4 minutes into the game, and they're almost 2,000 gold ahead. Now, there are quite a few minions for Chuck to farm up in the lane here, but it's not going to even things up. I mean, 2 kills going over to Cloud9, including that first blood bounty. They've taken quite an edge, and now Old School already has the Poison Shiv online. And in that last fight where Von C, came in with the foe splitter, he did get a lot of burst down onto Joseph. But then as he used the Into the Fray into Joseph, he had already started using the trampoline away, past Von C. So unfortunately, it cut out the gap closers coming out of Von C. He was then left to be penal food. He made it out with a sliver of health. Obviously, he ended up dying a little bit later on down the road, and Flash X paid for his life as well. So, Cloud9, they have a distinct advantage having the pedal into the heavy melee composition that the side of TSM have put together.
Joseph puts out so much poke as well. We saw the spontaneous combustion there, taking about half of Chuck's HP. C9 can continually harass. We have seen Churn Walkers be able to turn around fights like this, though. If you can land a couple of hook and chains, you get that extra damage bonus on towards everyone who is chained up. I think it's 30% of damage done to one target rotates onto the other targets as well. So it's on Flash X to be able to chain up all of the C9 roster and lock them down when these fights do end up erupting. He's got the fountain now as well, so he's a little bit more sustained for his team. Gavizel has a fountain of his own, and of course that Imperial Sigil. So both the teams pretty well balanced coming into the middle portion of this matchup, but C9 still with that slight gold lead at the 5.5 minute mark. Some damage on towards Von C as well, as he is forced away. Petal not here yet. There is the big red button, but doesn't really connect onto C9. Here comes Joseph. Has the trampoline, will jump forward towards Flash X, and a Shatter Glass completed on him already means that he's outputting a lot of DPS. Flash X just about gets away from that final spontaneous combustion, but Von C in the midst of this as well. But there is the fountain. Chuck down to sub 100 HP. The wait for it comes out. C9 are not giving up yet. They're going for the dive. There's the fountain. Actually comes out a little bit later. It was a healing flask earlier. And TSM just getting chased between their turrets here. C9 do not give a damn about turrets. They do not give a damn about structures at all. Joseph with a double. Almost gets the triple. Goes over to Old School. An ace for C9. And they will get the first turret of the game off the back of this as well.
Yeah, they're going to get the first turret, and they're going to go ahead and take away the entire jungle rotation away from Von C. And while the CP Rona can do a lot of damage, it's very gimmicky. It's very, you have to play it perfect. for it to even have a possibility of working. And to be behind this far already definitely makes it look pretty grim for the side of Team Solo Mid, as Cloud9 do secure that gold miner.
5,000 gold ahead now as well. Joseph sitting on almost 2,000 just by himself. Already has the Shatterglass completed. He's ahead of Vainglory in terms of itemization before he even spends the extra gold he has picked up. He is going to be so strong coming into the 10 to 15 minute portion of this matchup. Just needs a little bit more CP. No real shielding built up on TSM yet either, so they cannot keep themselves protected from C9. And Joseph almost at that second completed item already. Looks like it's going to be a broken myth for him. Has the piercing shard and the heavy prism to start it off.
Yeah, and it's a good spot for him to be in. Now, obviously, we're going to have to wait and see what exactly is going to go on now that the Shatterglass is complete. Again, CP Rona does offer a massive amount of burst if you can land that into the fray onto a target and then follow it up with a foe splitter. So far, we haven't been able to see that happen, and Joseph and Old School have just been able to push aggression nonstop. And Flash! Oh my
Yeah, Flash
goodness.
X will go back to the churn there. Gets absolutely demolished underneath his turret. Old School and Game Visual kiting back as Joseph trampolines forward, but they're just looking for the second turret here. Before even the 8-minute mark, they should be able to get this one down. 8 minutes ticks over. C9 get the turret, it goes down. Here we go, back in for the fight. There's the wait for it, as well as Vainglory's being forced away. He's gonna die. C9 just, they don't care. They don't care that TSM have just got their world spot. They don't care that TSM are fighting, you know, for the hopes of NA. They just are gonna shred through them here, continually diving between these turrets, looking for the choke point turret before even the 10-minute mark of this game. They'll take it down, and C9 look absolutely dominant here against TSM.
Yeah, they absolutely do, as Flash does have Old School hooked up a little bit here, but can Von C find the kill? Joseph...
No is the answer, Denali.
No is the answer, and it's actually kind of rough because Gabe Bizzle had literally just recalled. They had an opportunity to find a fight. It would have been pretty risky with Joseph right around the corner, but I mean, at this point, 8-0, a 1-for-1 trade for TSM is more than worth it with the bounties that are building up, especially onto Joseph.
C9 are 1,000 gold ahead for every minute there has been in this game. That's pretty disgusting. Like, you're 9 minutes in, you're basically 9,000 gold ahead. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible how well they've been able to snowball this game away from TSM, and you don't really see a way for TSM to get back into it because they just can't get the stats. They just can't get tanky enough. Gabe Bizzle goes in. There's the wait for it. Already one member of TSM is an impressive performance from C9. They're going to chase onto Flash X here as well. Joseph waiting for the trampoline. It's up in 2. He jumps forward. Flash X tries to get the stun off. Does manage to connect with it, but it's still just going to get chased away. The Imperial Sigil. There's the fountain, but Flash X taken down by the spontaneous combustion. He is plant food now as Joseph tries to decompose the rest of TSM. Cannot quite get onto Best Chuck, but we'll just be able to push in. The big red button used to clear out the wave, and Joseph will jump across the wall and blow a kiss once again to Von C. I think Von C realizes this game is as good as done already. The Crystal Sentry will go down. That gold miner is fully stacked though. Red Mist going to come out. Von C looking for that first kill, but yep, can't do too much. 11-0. C9 unstoppable thus far against TSM.
And they've really been able to take this snowball to such a huge advantage early on because Crystal Power Rona takes a couple items before she's even remotely viable in a fight. Those first couple levels, you know, she does not provide any consistent damage. And with there being a Petal on the other team, Petal is all about that early and mid-game advantage over a melee hero. So it makes so much sense for the Petal in this draft. And you gotta question why they went the Jewel and the Rona, specifically the Crystal Jungle Rona. We've seen the Weapon Rona make a good appearance in the lane. That's not the same situation we have here. This is literally Cloud9 pushing constantly, making sure that TSM... I mean, look at the damage coming out of Von C right now.
It's pretty disgusting. Don't really think there's any other word for it at the moment. C9 going to get another gold miner for themselves, more just to try and pull TSM into a bad situation than anything else. 10,000 gold ahead, 11 minutes in. They've also got to kill a minute this game. TSM going for the turret. Going to deny the perfect game from C9, but C9 are having none of this. The wait for it comes out. That turret actually might fall, and TSM do the unthinkable. They stop C9 from absolutely perfect gaming them. They get a turret, and C9, they'll be distraught. They'll be devastated with that. You know, they'd hung their entire hopes on getting this perfect game, and they just weren't quite able to do it. Only a 12,000 gold lead at the 12-minute mark. It's just not good enough from C9. Chasing onto VonC here as well, as he wants to add another string to his bow. But yeah, much more waiting on this game to finish than anything else at the moment.
Yeah, this has been quite the downfall game for Team Solo Mid. Fortunately, they've already got their world spot locked in. This game specifically doesn't really matter other than, well, your pride's on the line, first of all, as well as the winning the week. It's a good title overall to have. But Cloud9 looking to take a game up here early. Again, 12,000 gold in 12 minutes. They've taken 1,000 gold a minute over the side of Team Solo Mid. And they're not looking to let up the aggression. They'll probably look for 1, maybe 2 more fights is probably all it'll take for them to close out this game. And their only real fear is that Best Chuck is able to get into a 3rd or a 4th offensive item and just blow somebody up. And with the armor that's already coming out of the side of Cloud9, that's even going to be a pretty questionable cause.
Definitely. I think it's a smart build from C9 as well. There's always a temptation when you're this far ahead, just to be like, oh, just more damage. But getting a bit of armor, getting a bit of defense is actually very good in this sort of situation. The Arcane Passage comes out. FlashX already dead for the 5th time this game. Jumps back here from Best Chuck, but doesn't really have too many places to run away from the onions. And that's why you should eat your vegetables, kids, otherwise they will eat you. As Best Chuck realizes that. Joseph with his 8th kill of the game. VonC pushing out. Just gonna die here, probably. Actually does get back towards the base to heal himself back up. There is a wave pushing in here, but FlashX has respawned as well, and TSM going to try and hold on, at least for the time being. Joseph demolishes the first turret, and will just retreat with the rest of C9. Here we go, TSM, last chance saloon as Best Chuck jumps forward. The spontaneous combustion with the healing is absolutely huge. Kind of a big deal, say C9. We're going to Worlds. We got the #1 seeds. You may have got there as well, but you are not as strong as us. C9 going to take the 2nd Vein Crystal turret here and look for the win. Should be a pretty easy close for them. Just depends how long they want to play with their food, as TSM are diving in and out of that sanctuary, healing themselves back up, coming back out, getting taken down, healing back up once again. Joseph can't quite take out VonC, but eventually that Vein Crystal will fall down. TSM still fighting. Arcane Passage into the sanctuary. Didn't realize it wasn't his own. Comes back with the fountain as well. Use the echo on the Arcane Passage to use that twice. That's another double going over towards Old School. Eventually the ace comes out to C9, and at least the minions will close out the game for them. C9 18-0 beat TSM in game 1 of this finals.
Yeah, that was Cloud9 coming through very, very strong in that early and mid game, just asserting absolute dominance with this pedal into the questionable Crystal Power Rona coming out of VonC. Not a whole lot to say about that game. It was literally Cloud9 in the driver's seat all game long from the first